Duke has won 3 of the last 4 ACC tournaments. Their string of 4 straight regular season ACC titles was snapped by newcomer Notre Dame, playing in their very first ACC season. And Duke gets the ball first. Liston, the leading scorer for Duke, gets it back to Kalia Johnson, who's making her 3rd straight start.
Notre Dame will start out in a man-to-man, and great ball pressure will be key to taking vision away to the post.
Achanwa able to get a finger on it, but the ball landed in Elizabeth Williams' hands, and she hits her first shot.
Pam, if Elizabeth Williams came to work today and decides that she's going to post up, she will be challenging for Notre Dame to defend.
Notre Dame won both regular season meetings, and now the 2 big girls have 2 points apiece as Achanwa hits the jumper.
Both these teams like to start their offenses inside out. They both, this is the 2 best 3-point shooting teams in the country. If you start it inside, you create opportunities outside.
Duke is the very best. Jackson able to get by Breaker, nothing doing. Peters tried to follow, and Williams with authority for early points. Elizabeth Williams, the first time these 2 teams played, did not score a field goal in her first and only game in her collegiate career in which she didn't get a block. There's Kayla McBride classic.
No one touched her, Pam. She's going to flash to the middle of that ACC. Notre Dame and shoot-around today spent a lot of time sending a guard into the middle of the lane for that little mid-range shot.
McBride, the 2nd leading scorer behind Jewell Loyd. Peters needs to hit those.
Nice pop by Peters. Screen and a good read by Liston. You know, we talk about Notre Dame's basketball IQ. I'm telling you, Tricia Liston is very smart, very sharp and savvy about understanding personnel.
Has been thrust into the lead role position, the lead guard position, I should say, with Chelsea Gray and Alexis Jones out for the year with knee injuries.
That's what I like to call it, because they've lost 3 point guards. They don't really have a point guard, but they have a lead guard to initiate offense.
McBride, oh, that fadeaway, and she is off to a great start. The first 2 games of this ACC tournament, a little slow go for her, but Kayla so far is 2 for 2.
Well, you know, Notre Dame should be fresh. They played against 2 teams that play zone that didn't really challenge them.
No starter played more than 24 minutes in their semifinal win over NC State yesterday. Liston draws a little contact, no foul, but she gets the roll.
And that's where Tricia Liston's game has evolved. All 4 years, her percentages have gone up, her 3-point makes have gone up, and it's allowed her to be able to get off the bounce and score in the paint.
Notre Dame has not yet missed from the field. And now the first turnover as the ball tips off of Allen's hands.
One of the things that you and I both discovered today, Pam, was that Notre Dame, their top 8 players, they all have more assists than turnovers. For Duke, it's exactly the opposite. They all have more turnovers than assists. So taking care of the basketball for Duke will be really important.
All of the players with positive assist to turnover ratio are out. Jones, Gray, and Chloe Wells. And Achanwa draws the foul.
And that's not going to make Duke very happy. That was not a good decision by Jackson.
Foul was on Richey.
Duke in that matchup zone. Haley Peters at the top.
McBride over Peters is 3 for 3.
Is anybody going to guard Kayla McBride today? Because she's wide open, uncontested shots, making it look easy.
McBride, who did not win Conference Player of the Year, 3 for 3 so far. Alyssa Thomas from Maryland won it for a record-tying 3rd straight time. Elena Beard also won it 3 years in a row. In her brilliant career at Duke, Elizabeth Williams brilliant so far.
Yeah, tough, demanding, demonstrative, wants the ball.
And we have really seen a change in her. We mentioned that she did not have a field goal the first time these 2 teams played back in early February, and she is a whole different beast out there. In fact, beast is the word that the Notre Dame players use to describe her. Achanwa, uncontested, rims out. Williams gets it, gives it over to Johnson, who had not started a game until this ACC tournament. Jackson guarded by Breaker. You see Liston with the decided height advantage over Lindsay Allen. Takes her right to the hole, a little bit too strong.
Yeah, Allen got caught overplaying and gave up middle penetration. I don't think Coach McGraw likes that.
Nobody's guarding McBride again. A little contact out there from Johnson, but no foul, and that's Kayla's first miss. And a whistle as Allen's going to be called for the foul, holding on to Tricia Liston. Duke off to a great start as we take a timeout in Greensboro. Duke with a 2-point lead over Notre Dame in the ACC title game. Let's go over to LaChina Robinson with more on Notre Dame making a big splash in their first year in the league.
Well, guys, with all the firsts for Notre Dame in the ACC, you might think that it takes years for a conference rivalry to develop. Not the case here. Kayla McBride told us, this is our rivalry here with Duke. She said, anytime you beat a team twice, they're going to come out hungrier. We dislike them. I'm sure they dislike us. So clearly there's already a budding rivalry here in the ACC for the Irish.
And so far it is Duke that is down. They lost both regular season matchups, and you might recall as well that Notre Dame beat Duke in the Elite Eight last year.
Yeah, that's actually 6 in a row for Notre Dame over the Blue Devils.
But they have come in and they not only won the conference title, but went 16-0 in the ACC, which is definitely one of the best conferences, if not the best, in the country. McBride has one miss, and that's all she's going to do for us.
Well, you know what? Kayla McBride, that number 21 is pretty good.
She has 8 of their 10 points, and every basket in this game has been answered. Duke scored the first basket, and since then, every team has countered. No one has led by more than 2.
There's the double team. That's a good read by Williams, though. You got to make sure. That's what I talked about with Coach McGraw today at shoot-around. You double team, you get out of rotation. Duke is crashing the offensive glass. Can you still box them out, keep them from offensive boards?
Peters is their best rebounder, and she got a nice follow bucket. Jackson forcing the turnover. Nice play to get in the passing lane as they were trying to get it out to Mabry, who was in. It was their best 3-point shooter. Mabry coming in for Lindsay Allen, and Taya Reimer, a freshman post player, is also coming to the game. And a little bit of a roll, and good for Peters.
Peters is going to have to continue to make plays. She has the capability. I love how she moves without the ball. She's a terrific screener that gives her opportunities to get open. She's got to score in a one-on-one in the post, though.
2 straight turnovers. Johnson this time forcing it. 3rd turnover overall for Notre Dame, but 2 in a row. Notre Dame led Duke 20-2 when they played their second game this year at South Bend. Definitely a different start for the Dukies today.
Yeah, they look like a confident bunch, don't they? They came here to Greensboro ready to play. This is some of their best basketball, and you think they're playing without a point guard.
Haley Peters 4 for 5 so far, a blistering start, and Duke has scored the last 6 points of this game. This is Mabry's bread and butter and jam and everything else.
It's going up. She is going to shoot it. She is their 3-point threat. You cannot lose her. She stretches the defense, man. She's got some range too, Mabry.
Averages 2 made threes per game. About 2/3 of her shots taken this season have come from beyond the arc, and there was nobody near her to defend that.
I love her toughness. She's, you know, she has no conscience when it comes to shooting the basketball.
Kind of that Jersey kid mentality.
Oh yeah, she's tough.
A miss by Jackson. Notre Dame's transition is the one thing that Coach Joanne P. McCauley said they really have to get a handle on and stop. Jewell Loyd is tough to stop, and that is her 1,000th career point.
It's about time you got involved in the game, Jewell. What have you been waiting for?
Yes.
It's her first shot, she makes it. This Notre Dame team is so balanced. They don't force. They're so unselfish.
And Jewell Loyd hitting 53% of her shots on the season, which was remarkable for a guard. Liston with a little bit of an elbow, and they got her for it. Good job by Loyd to draw it. First one on Liston. And Haley Peters has off to a terrific start for Duke. Peters with 8 points, and Duke hanging in there against the unbeaten Irish. You are watching the ACC on ESPN. Duke and Notre Dame in the ACC championship game, and Duke has the 1-point lead early. Now let's go inside the play with Deb Antonelli.
Well, Liston is the focal point, along with Williams, of Notre Dame's defense. And watch these different plays. Now, Lindsey Allen, you've got to jump to the ball. She doesn't. Liston cuts across the front of her face. She draws a foul. Now watch Jewell Loyd on her this time. She beats her to the spot. It's a terrific job by Loyd of getting to the spot before Liston by moving her feet. Great quickness, and Notre Dame will mix up who they put on her to try to keep her off balance, try to limit her shot attempts.
Haley Peters has come up large when they needed her to. Tricia Liston in game 1 against Notre Dame had 23 points. In the second game, just 9 points. 5 of those came in the last minute 30. Elizabeth Williams, conversely, had a poor first game against Notre Dame and then came on strong in the second game with 20 points. And Muffet McGraw said that she wants to try to put the clamps down on both of them this afternoon.
They go from a 3-2 to a 2-3, but they will play mostly zone.
McBride going up, trying to get her over Williams, could not. Reimer can't get it to go. Liston chases it down. By the way, Liston was not called for a foul before we went to break, so no personal foul on Tricia Liston. Defending Peters. Liston got around a Williams screen. Good look at it. Williams crashing the board, but couldn't get it to go. A held ball as number 22, Odera Cheatham, has checked in for Duke. And the alternate possession sends it to Notre Dame.
Pam, Duke crashes hard. If Notre Dame could defensive rebound, they could get numbers going the other way. You know, and that's one thing you got to consider. When we were in the Duke locker room with Coach McCauley, she talked about taking away their transition game. Well, you better make sure that you don't give up defensive rebounding opportunities that lead to that.
And Coach McGraw said that if they can't outrun us, then we're even. That's a big if. Notre Dame has not spent a lot of time in games trailing all season long. Loyd to her left and perfect.
They make it look so easy, but I'm telling you right now, it requires practice. It's called getting in the gym and working on your jump shot. And the Notre Dame kids are always working on their shot.
Loyd, along with McBride, first team All-ACC selection, so Chanwa was a second team pick.
Notre Dame in a zone. You like to go zone when Mabry's on the floor.
Williams, nice pass into Odera Cheatham, and then Williams rebounds again. Cheatham could not hang on to it. Williams frustrated she couldn't get it, but she is very beast-like so far in this game. And we talked about the opposites in the first two games with these two players.
Right, Coach McGraw talked about trying to take them both out, not letting either one of them have a big game, making somebody else beat them. They'll change the way they defend them, too.
Cheatham almost got the steal. Peters so far has been one of the ones doing so well for Duke, but Notre Dame has now scored the last 7 points of this game after falling behind 16-10. Duke has missed its last 5 field goals, and they have gone over 3 minutes, about 3.5 minutes now without a field goal.
Lindsey Allen trying to defend Williams inside.
Oh, that's a nice pass from Johnson into Elizabeth Williams. Johnson had been playing the 3 here for Duke, and now has been shifted over into a combo guard role and has thrived. And Mabry missed. Reimer tried to get it inside. Loyd came away with the loose ball and sets up. Allen back into the game, and that's a charge on Chanwa, drawn by Elizabeth Williams.
Watch Williams move her feet. I guess they thought Chanwa leaned in.
And Chanwa heads to the bench with her first personal foul. Williams and Peters have combined for 16 of Duke's 18 points.
Elizabeth Williams needs to get a touch on this possession. Oh, they throw it away.
That is the third Duke turnover, and again, no player on this team has a positive assist-to-turnover ratio with Jones, Wells, and Gray out. The best assist-to-turnover ratio belongs to Elizabeth Williams. Just -4 coming into this game.
She's gotten better at playing through the double team. You know, there's some teams in the ACC that don't double her. Play her straight up. You got to mix it up. You got to keep her off balance. You can't let her get comfortable in there, and you can't let her get a great position with 2 feet in the paint.
She's been terrific in the ACC tournament so far, hitting 65% of her shots coming into this game, and today she's 4 for 6. Loyd elevates, man.
You know what, Diamond DeShields just dominated that top of the floor and made a lot of points up there against Haley Peters at the top of that zone, but it doesn't matter who you put up there. If Loyd and Diamond DeShields can both make plays.
Loyd is 5'10", Peters is 6'3", but when Loyd elevates, she's taller than Haley. Amazing athleticism, and just a sophomore. Williams strong, but it trickles off the rim. Cheatham working well against Breaker.
I like the play call to get Elizabeth Williams to catch on the pinch and let her go with her right hand. All you need is one dribble from up there, but I'm telling you, Duke is crashing the glass.
Reimer trying to go right back up, but she has 3 Duke players surrounding her, and Peters stripped it away.
Yeah, Duke is okay with a low possession game. You know, they don't mind making Notre Dame make a few extra passes in their offense just to shrink the game some, shrink the possessions.
Jackson. Out of control. Ball goes off her hands. We'll take a timeout. How about this? Unbeaten Notre Dame trailing Duke in the ACC championship game. And we anticipate a good championship game. Who among us have USC and Oregon State playing for the Pac-12 championship? Watch it tonight at 9 Eastern right after this game, also live on Watch ESPN. Congratulations to the Trojans. They took out the big bad wolf in Stanford in the semis.
A couple of upsets, Pam. They beat the number 4 seed, Arizona State. Then they took down Stanford. It's the first time in the 13 years of that tournament that Stanford's not playing for the title.
Cynthia Cooper, the new head coach over at USC. A Chanwa no. Loyd is there and brings it back out. Notre Dame has hit only 2 of its last 9 shots or 10 shots until Kayla McBride ends the drought.
That's because in that drought, Kayla McBride didn't take a shot. You got to get McBride and Loyd involved.
McBride now with 11. She's 5 of 8 from the floor. Cheatham growing in confidence. Her minutes are up. Her productivity is up for the freshman. Shot clock at 5. Liston trying to force the issue. And here comes Notre Dame in transition.
Numbers. That's a poor choice by Kayla McBride. You got a 4 on 2. You got Lindsay Allen for a short shot off the glass. She's getting stuck down there in the post, having to guard Cheatham. That can wear you down if you have to guard post players.
Allen just beating a 5-second count to get it in. Lindsay Allen, freshman point guard, has started from day 1 for Notre Dame, taking over for Skylar Diggins and doing a terrific job. Liston all over Chanwa. McBride. Shot clock winding down. Jewell Loyd just recognized it. Fires one over Peters. And the rebound hits the floor and then hits Williams' hands.
See, Notre Dame is not sending anybody to the offensive glass. They're content with getting back and setting their D. I guess when you shoot it like they do, you know, they lead the nation in field goal percentage. They're the 2nd best in threes. I guess they think it's always going in.
You know who's best at threes? Duke, even though Liston missed that one. Loyd, all the way and off glass.
That's why they're so dangerous in transition. They get that transition game going off their defensive rebounding.
Loyd now with 8, McBride with 11 for Notre Dame. Get the lead back up to 4, and here's Lindsay Allen. Amber Henson trailing, but Kayla McBride comes down, and a blocking foul will be called against Duke's Amber Henson.
The foul will be charged to Duke at number 30, Apper.
We talked about Notre Dame's ability to defensive rebound, and when their guards get involved, they transition quickly and get numbers. This is tough to stop. You don't see two hips, two shoulders. You go off the glass all the way to the rim. That's a nice take by Loyd.
Now Kayla McBride, who is usually a tremendous free throw shooter at 88%, misses the first one. This is the biggest lead of the game for Notre Dame. Duke led by as many as 6. Williams heads to the bench. Ladera Cheatham back in for the Blue Devils.
You know, Notre Dame has had it on cruise control since they've been here. Florida State, NC State didn't really challenge them. I'm wondering when they're going to ramp it up a little bit, because there's been a couple of possessions they look too casual, Pam. It doesn't usually look like them, you know?
They beat Florida State 83-57. At one point had a 21-0 run in that game, and then cruised over NC State 83-48 in the semis yesterday.
The last 2 possessions for Duke, though, have resulted in steals by Notre Dame or a defensive rebound that allows them to get out on the break.
Duke had hit 2 of its last 11 field goals until that shot went down.
There still are 7 All-Americans on Duke's roster, and Cheatham is one of them.
Just chock full of high school All-Americans. Allen tried to thread it through too many bodies down there.
Because I'm not counting Chelsea Gray and Alexis Jones in that, because they're out for the season with ACL or knee injuries.
In fact, it was against Notre Dame in South Bend where Alexis Jones tore her ACL. That's a charge. That will be the first foul on Tricia Liston. Check that, that is her second foul. And so she heads to the bench with just 2 points.
And that was one thing that Coach McCauley told us in the locker room before the game. You know, if Tricia Liston picks up 2 fouls, our offense could come to a halt. It's going to be, see if, you know, at the end of the game or at the end of the first half against North Carolina, she used her for offensive possessions and put her back on the floor because she could trust her. But she's picked up both fouls on offensive, one to push off and one to charge.
So she goes out with 2 fouls with her team trailing by 3. McBride, a step back over Peters. But the rebound is grabbed by Loyd, and that is a great catch by Achanwa. It looked like that pass was going to go over her head. Didn't get a good shot off, or a shot off at all. 7th turnover for the Irish. And then Kalia Johnson was just pestered by Loyd.
Good ball pressure by Notre Dame. The thing is Duke is so big on the perimeter, they can see right over those Notre Dame guards.
Great length for this team. Achanwa. Frustrated. Jackson 1-on-2, that's Mabry. And then Loyd went over there and got a hand on the shot. Great hustle by Jewell Loyd as Rashay decided to go to the basket even though she didn't have numbers. That foul was on Kalia Johnson. And there is Chelsea Gray. We'll have more on her and her leadership even though she's unable to play. Thank you. So many near upsets so far today. Here Notre Dame leading Duke by 3, and Duke has gotten to the championship game without point guards Alexis Jones and Chelsea Gray. For more on that, let's head over to LaChana Robinson.
Guys, Chelsea Gray cannot play physically on the floor, but her mind is still in point guard mode, and I asked her what she sees in this matchup against Notre Dame, and she said we must control tempo. And as a point guard, what does that look like? You have to set up plays that get you shots late in the shot clock. Don't allow your team to push the ball without your guidance in transition. And another thing she said is if Notre Dame goes to their switching man-to-man, they have to attack on ball and down screens and get duck-ins in the post.
Yeah, I think that Duke has done an excellent job of recognizing the mismatches. We've seen them get a couple of back-to-the-basket plays. Notre Dame only likes to switch 1 through 4, though. They don't really like to switch that 5 position.
So Chelsea Gray has been invaluable over there on the bench, even though, unfortunately, for the 2nd straight year, her season ended because of a knee injury. As a senior, her career is over in college. Haley Peters breaks a drought. Duke had not had a field goal since the 8:22 mark, so what's that, about 5.5 minutes?
Duke playing tough right now. No pressure on them, Pam. No one thought they were going to be here in this position. They were the 2 seed. but they got swept by Notre Dame and North Carolina, and you lose both your point guards. It changes the way they look and play.
Reimer inside, doesn't get it. Peters comes down with the rebound. Peters with 10 points for Duke. Good drive by Clea Johnson, but the ball would not go down. Williams comes up with her 7th rebound of the half.
Is anybody going to box out Elizabeth Williams? She is killing them on the offensive glass. That's her 4th offensive rebound of the half.
I think that they will hear plenty about that at halftime. Duke is playing without Trisha Liston, still on the bench with 2 fouls and just 2 points. Duke has not hit a 3 yet in this game.
Rashae Jackson needs to make a good decision. She has made, I would say, 4 poor decisions on her penetration to the basket. Trying to make too many things happen. Just let the game come, move the ball. It can't get stuck in one person's hands.
Jackson now making her 16th straight start in the starting lineup once Chelsea Gray got hurt. And that's a stuff by Reimer. Elizabeth Williams just won't give up on the basketball.
Watch the spin move and the great job one-on-one defending in the post. That's what you want. You'd rather be able to play straight up if you can and not have to bring a double or over-rotate or shadow the interior game for Duke, because it sets up their 3-point shooting, and they're the best 3-point shooting team in the land.
Williams over her left shoulder for her 10th point. And Duke retakes the lead.
You absolutely have to sit on that left shoulder for Elizabeth Williams. You got to make her go the other way.
McBride left open and buries it. Notre Dame gets the lead right back on the 14th point of the day for Kayla McBride.
You need a big shot, and you've got several for Notre Dame capable of making it. Now for Duke, we don't know who would be the person. I would think that it might be Liston or might be Williams, but will depend on how the game goes if it can stay tight.
Duke with their 6th turnover. McBride with 15 points after that 3. Here's the 3-point shooter. Mabry's missed a couple in a row now, and with less than 1 minute to go, Duke takes a timeout. Let's go back to some of the work. Elizabeth Williams working on a double-double just here in the first half.
Look how hard she works for position, demands the basketball, goes over that left shoulder with that half hook. It's about real estate with Williams. You got to push her up the lane. And McBride, under duress, needs a big shot. Go to Kayla McBride. She's your All-American. Well, actually, they got a couple of All-Americans on that team, but she's certainly capable.
McBride, part of our need to know. She is 6 of 10 in this game, including 2 of 4 from 3. And Elizabeth Williams with 10 points and 8 rebounds. Notre Dame has not played a lot of close games, especially lately. They had to come from behind to beat Tennessee earlier in the year, had a gargantuan second half to win 86-70.
They only had 1 single-digit game, and that was on the road at Maryland. 87-83 they won. Remember, Maryland mounted that gigantic come-from-behind rally to be able to get the game within striking distance late.
So after the timeout, let's see what Duke is going to try to do. Trisha Liston back in the game. Runs around the screen, and Elizabeth Williams called for the moving screen.
Yeah, that's something that Duke did at the end of the first half against North Carolina. On an offensive possession, they put Liston in, which is a good move.
And she goes right back out.
Yeah, because they don't want her to pick up a third.
And Ariel Breaker back on the floor for the Fighting Irish.
I'd like to get McBride in that ACC area.
Calls Mabry to come over. Shot clock winding down.
Mabry needs to look at the basket.
And they don't get a shot off. Great defense from Duke, and you're right, Mabry not cognizant that the shot clock was winding down, and now Duke has 8.2 seconds to get the last shot of the half. Liston back in the offensive-defensive substitution for Duke. And Jewell Loyd is all over her defensively. Leah Johnson guarded by Allen, takes it in and puts it home right before the half expires. Leah Johnson, called on to start in the last 3 games, ties it up right before halftime. It's going to be a tie game, and is a tie game now at 28 all, the 6th tie of an exciting first half. Let's go over to LaChina.
Joanne, you said you wanted to keep the pace of this game below 70 points for Notre Dame. You've held them to 28. What's working for you?
I tell you, great players doing nice things together out there, playing great quarter court defense. Still got to get the great shooters. McBride is fantastic. We got to find her. But great quarter court defense and some nice patience on offense, and we've got to continue that. That's just 20 minutes. They're a great team. We got a lot of work to do.
Trisha Liston in and out a little bit there with some foul trouble. On the offensive end, what do you need to do to get things rolling in the second half?
All I can say is Trisha Liston has never had 2 offensive fouls in a season, let alone in a game. Very disappointing there. However, we'll get her going in the second half.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Liston just 1 of 6 from the floor in the first half. Kayla McBride with 15 to lead Notre Dame. Peters and Williams with 10 apiece. For Duke, how about this? We have a tie game in the ACC Championship. Time for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. At the half, Duke and Notre Dame are tied up at 28 apiece. Cam Ward along with Deb Antonelli, LaChina Robinson here as well. Surprising first half for you?
Well, I thought that Duke could give them a good 20 minutes because if Elizabeth Williams came ready to play, and she did, they have been able to stay tied in this game. And I think Notre Dame is too casual. I don't think they played with great defensive pressure. I think there were too many direct line passes right into Elizabeth Williams, and she was all over the offensive glass. I think Notre Dame needs to pick up their defensive intensity, and that will get them in their transition game, which is when they're at their best offensively.
Williams with 10 points and 8 rebounds in the first half. 5 of those rebounds were offensive. Kayla McBride with 15. The last time these two teams played in South Bend in late February, McBride had a career-high 31 points. She's about halfway to that right now. Terrific pass from Williams out of the double team.
See, Jewell Loyd did not drop down and rotate when the help came from post to post.
Shea Jackson's first basket. She was 0 for 4 in the first half. Duke with 22 of their 30 points coming in the paint. Breaker bodied up by Williams, who gets her 9th rebound.
It's going to be all about ball pressure, defensive intensity for Notre Dame to help change the rhythm of their offense. Or maybe that halftime concert will get them in rhythm, because Duke is playing really well on the offensive end.
Haley Peters is playing really well, 12 points, 6 of 7 from the floor in this game.
They've got the tempo where they want it. They're moving the ball, and they're playing against that Notre Dame D like it's easy.
But you know what? Notre Dame has Jewell Loyd, who just casually dropped in the 3.
Both these teams average over 80 points. Notre Dame certainly capable of scoring and playing at any tempo, but they favor the up-tempo.
Duke, the best 3-point shooting team in the country, are 0 for 2 from beyond the arc in this game. Notre Dame is second best percentage-wise. Liston, tough shot, one-handed won't go. Achanwa gets it and yells go as she got it up to Jewell Loyd. This is when they are at their best, and it's Duke's worst nightmare for them to run like that. And Elizabeth Williams already has a double-double. That was her 10th rebound, 6th double-double of the season, 17th of her terrific career. Jackson left it short.
I think Shea Jackson's trying too hard. The opportunities aren't there. I think Coach McCauley would rather move the ball and make a few extra passes.
Chumla, boy, that's Williams' first block of the game. Did not have one in the first half. Again, just one game in her entire career in which she did not have a block. That was the first game against Notre Dame this year in Durham.
Watch the play by Williams. She's guarding Achanwa. That's too easy. You got to pump fake, get into the body of the shot blocker. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC.
McBride called for that foul for the Irish. Taylor Reimer out there for Notre Dame. Reimer picks up a foul. That is her first.
Her first seats second.
Williams, boy, missed with the left hand. Battle for the rebound, got it, and then lost it on the way up.
That wasn't over the back.
Not according to the officials. Loyd again, yes.
And Coach McGraw is giving it to the official up the floor.
Dee Kantner, Eric Bruton, and Brian Brunette, our officials this afternoon. Dee is the lead official. Williams waited for Peters to clear out, and then she barreled into Achanwa. Let's head over now to LaChana Robinson.
Guys, I caught up with Buffett McGraw out of the locker room, and she was very disappointed in her team's lack of transition as well. She said it starts with our ability to rebound, and when we don't defend and do the things we need to on the glass, we can't get out and run. As far as their offense, she said we're standing around, we're not penetrating, and she was really disappointed in their points in the paint, getting beat 20-6 at the half.
She's got to be anything but disappointed right now in LaChana. How about Jewell Loyd with 2 threes already in this half and 8 points?
You know, I use the word casual, Pam, because they haven't been challenged here, and it's been too easy. And you know, now you're going to have to step up and make some plays, make some tough plays. And Jewell Loyd comes out of the locker room, and she's ready.
Leah Johnson tied up by Lindsey Allen. An 8-0 Notre Dame run. All 8 of those points scored by Jewell Loyd.
Jewell Loyd is an All-American. She's on my top 10 list for sure. Watch this play right here. They're taking advantage of the top of that zone. Haley Peters is trying to protect inside out. She doesn't want anybody to dribble through the top, but their open jump shot is available.
McBride with the nice shot right in the lane around that ACC logo that you talked about, and she buried it. Notre Dame, they have come out of the locker room with authority. 10-0 run, timeout on the floor. Notre Dame has scored the last 10 points, 8 of them coming from Jewell Loyd.
Terrific. I mean, out of the locker room, ready to score. Just a sophomore who's led Notre Dame in scoring all season long. Just takes what the defense gives. Not forcing anything, in transition. Little crossover to a pull-up jump shot. So good at using the bounce to power into a jumper. Good job of playing inside out. Notre Dame doesn't put it on the floor unless it's with a purpose to improve their angle or their shot selection.
37 straight double-figure games heading back to her freshman season, and there you see the shot chart for Jewell. Both those threes coming here in the second half.
Yeah, she is terrific. I mean, right now she's 7 for 10. Kayla McBride is 7 for 11. The 2 All-Americans combining for 14 for 21 from the floor. That's who should be taking shots. That's good offensive discipline.
Yes. Nice to have those 2 stars in the backcourt. Both of them should be All-Americans this year. Let's see what Duke can do out of this timeout.
It's about real estate for Williams. You got to push her up the lane, off the block.
Off of Duke. Notre Dame basketball. Time for another timeout. That was the 11th turnover of the game for Duke. They're down 6.
And last year she was the National Coach of the Year, and part of the reason why is because this team is so good offensively. The first column is Notre Dame's averages. The second is the Division I women's basketball averages, and you can see they're above all of those by a very high margin. It's part of the reason why the point guard, Buffett McGraw, who was she was a passer. She wasn't really a shooter in college. Her team is very efficient and very well skilled and good offensive discipline.
Buffett went to St. Joseph's in Philadelphia. The only statistic in which they're below the national average is in threes made per game, but they don't need to make a ton of threes. They have so many other options. Achanwa working hard after what was for her a subpar first half.
So Duke comes with a little half-court pressure, looking to trap, cause turnovers, and Notre Dame has no problem handling it, playing right down the middle of the floor.
And then Leah Johnson was able to blow by everybody to get the basket. Johnson scored with under a second left to go in the first half to tie this game up at 28 before the break and at the break.
For someone who hasn't played much, Kalia Johnson has been terrific in this tournament. I think her decision-making and her confidence level has been outstanding.
She's a junior, so we can look for more playing time as a senior. McBride with the miss. Let's go over to LaChana Robinson.
Guys, I talked to Kalia about her surge offensively, and she said she's very happy not only to be playing, but back at the point guard position, which she played in high school. And someone that she said got her ready for this is assistant coach Al Brown. She said no matter how many minutes I play in a game, he is always critiquing me, helping me get better, and it's paying off.
And the alley-oop on the other side for Jewell Loyd. That's going to become, if it hasn't already, her trademark play.
Well, Kayla McBride told us she was going to give us one of those today, didn't she, at shoot-around?
As we had not seen that in the first couple of games for them.
And to pick up off of LaChina's point, you know, Al Brown is terrific. He has been in the game for many decades. He's been with many top-level coaches, and he helped Pat Summitt win a few championships at the University of Tennessee, and he certainly can break it down.
Haley Peters with the miss. Peters was terrific in the first half with 10 points, has just 2 so far here, and Reimer beats everybody down the other end of the court. That is what Coach McCauley was afraid of, Notre Dame getting out and running, and all of a sudden the lead is 10. And let's go back now to the alley-oop. Jewell Loyd, so athletic.
Well, it's back-to-back plays in transition. See, this is the wear-down effect. When you defensive rebound, you can get out on a break. Notre Dame has excellent rebounding guards. They don't need the outlet. An alley-oop pass and a finish by Jewell Loyd. And, you know, when you and I were sitting here at halftime watching Kayla McBride and Jewell Loyd walk out onto the court, they were side by side. And they had a business look about their face, and you could see that, you know, they came ready to play here in the second half, especially Jewell Loyd.
Yeah, they came out very serious looks on their faces. They complement each other so well. And Kayla McBride actually went over and had something to say to Michaela Mabry, who was only 1 of 3 from 3 in the first half. Usually she's a lot more efficient and proficient than that, and they have come out a different team so far.
And Notre Dame showing a little 2-2-1, falling back into their man.
Duke has gone almost 5.5 minutes now without a field goal. Notre Dame is a team that can do that, just go on these torturous runs that can bury teams. Shot clock winding down. Johnson trying to work against Reimer. Williams, yes, just as the shot clock expires.
Kalia Johnson makes a nice play inside 10 on the shot clock because she recognizes the switch and the mismatch, takes her right to the paint.
Williams with the dozen. That's her first basket of the second half. Loyd left open, decides to get it over to Allen, who didn't score in the first half. That's what she does. She's a facilitator. Achanwa with the finish.
I like to talk about the 3 W's of a good point guard, Pam. Who to get it to, when, and where. I think Lindsay Allen's IQ, because of the players that she plays with, makes it fairly simple for her to take her game to another level.
Oh, wouldn't you love to have those weapons to pass to? She has 3 assists and has not yet taken a shot. Tricia Liston called for her 3rd offensive foul of the game. Wow.
They have done an excellent job of running her off the 3-point line and making her make plays off the bounce. This is an excellent call. It starts outside the lower defensive box. This is a great play by Achanwa to get off the contact, rotate over, and draw a charge.
So Liston with just 2 points and 3 fouls. Looks like she will be substituted for as Rashae Jackson comes to the scorer's table.
You heard Coach McCauley tell LaChina leaving at the end of the half that she's never seen Tricia Liston get 2 offensive fouls in a game. That's 3 offensive fouls in a game, and I don't think I'd leave her over there very long because you need her to spread the floor. And that casual attitude that I thought Notre Dame played with in the first half, well, that's gone.
Yeah, that is dead and buried. Duke still has not scored a 3. They are 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. They, at over 41%, the best 3-point shooting team in the nation, but Liston is over there on the bench. She is their best 3-point shooter at 49% for the season. Johnson trying to force things, got it stripped by McBride. Loyd on the way, yes, and the foul! Jewell Loyd going coast to coast for the Irish.
Duke has already called 2 timeouts to try to stop this run. This is a great job of help defense by McBride. She seeks in on the penetration, and it allows Loyd. Their defensive rebounding and their defensive extra effort has allowed them to get some transition opportunities this half.
And Jewell Loyd now with 21 points. career high, in case you're wondering, 31 against Maryland earlier this year. Elizabeth Williams finally gets a bucket. That's her 14th point. Has a double-double today. Duke is trying to get it done without Tricia Liston, and just as you said it, Deb, she's coming right back in, their leading scorer.
I don't feel like you can leave her over there very long, not right here, because, you know, Duke is not a pressure team in terms of digging back in. Down double digits, it's going to be tough for them to get back in it if they don't get quarter court stops. They can't really extend. They don't want to open the space up in the court up for Notre Dame to make plays in transition.
The lead is 11. Cheatham got fouled by Achanwa, who agreed. That is number 2 on Natalie. We had a tie game at the half, but Notre Dame has opened it up as they lead by 11. Notre Dame one of 2 unbeatens in the country, and they're playing like it right now.
Boy, they're playing on all cylinders right now. They're getting out of their transition. They're getting stops defensively. They're moving the ball. Everyone's getting involved, especially Jewell Loyd. Already with 21 points, and we still have more than 11 minutes to play.
She is 5 of 6 from the floor in this half with 13 points. Notre Dame has outscored Duke in this half 21-10 after it was tied at 28. And here's the big 2.
They combined to average 46 points in the 2 earlier meetings. Well, they're going to go over that before the day is over. They are terrific. I agree with Carol Lawson. They're both on my All-American list as well.
Loyd just a sophomore. McBride is a senior, part of the winningest senior class in the history of Notre Dame, which is saying something. Now, obviously, they've had some great classes come through, last year included. Ruth Riley's group back, who won the championship in 2001. That was the first free throw taken by Duke today. And Cheatham, who hit big free throws against North Carolina yesterday, missed them both right here.
And Sylvia Hatchell from University of North Carolina, watching from her hospital room, is probably thinking, why didn't she miss those last night?
And she told LaChina Robinson that she was shaking. She was so nervous when she was taking those shots last night, but she hit them both in a crucial situation. Mabry inbounds it. Lindsay Allen now on the bench for Notre Dame. The other 4 starters are out there, and there's a foul on Duke. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues on ESPN tomorrow night at 7 Eastern. The American Conference Women's Championship as Louisville takes on UConn tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, also live on Watch ESPN. They play twice during the regular season. Louisville got whomped both times. We'll see if that changes tomorrow night. Charlie Cream, according to his bracketology, has Connecticut as a 1 seed going to Louisville.
You think Jeff Walls can pull 16 threes out of the bag against Connecticut? Because it's going to have to be something like that, like he did in one of the most memorable upsets in the history of women's college basketball last year when Louisville took down Baylor.
Did that in the Sweet 16 in Oklahoma City, prematurely ending Brittany Griner's career. A week from tomorrow is Selection Monday on ESPN. Shot clock winding down, and that's on the floor, but a break for Duke as it trickled off the leg of one of the Fighting Irish. Lindsay Allen checking in. Kayla McBride goes out, and she told Coach McGraw, I don't want to go out. Don't take me out today, because yesterday in that semifinal, she only played 20 minutes against NC State. She doesn't like to sit on the bench.
No, no player does. Certainly not at her caliber.
Tricia Liston still struggling.
You want to get minutes so you can get some buckets.
Liston just 1 of 7 from the floor, make it 1 of 8 with that miss.
Yeah, they made it tough on her all game. They've rotated defenders on her. See, now Duke's going to try to put her to the block. I'd take her down and invert her a little bit and see if maybe you can get something easy.
Trying to get a putback, and it was taken away by one of the littles underneath. Here's Allen. Loyd on the left. What a pass to Achanwa, but a terrific block by Peters. Duke coming back. That was not a good pass to Elizabeth Williams. She's kind of in no man's land under the basket. And Cheatham, yes. There's a question as to maybe perhaps if she took a step before that basket, but the foul is against Notre Dame.
2 whistles, both officials had fouls.
Cheatham on the line, shooting 1.
So Cheatham with the chance for a three-point play. Just missed 2 free throws about a minute ago. Freshman from Oakland, California, one of several McDonald's All-Americans, and she has 3.
That's the 57% free throw shooter there.
Which is what she is on the season, up to 58% after last night. But it's going back down. Loyd left that well short.
That seemed too quick for Notre Dame. You know, Mabry can shoot at any time she wants outside the arc. Maybe too quick for Jewell. But she maybe a little heat check though, Pam.
Williams working on it, Shanwa. Good double team by Reimer to force the turnover. Liston right in the way of Loyd. No foul call on either player. Mabry, that's smart, just to put it up. You don't see her take a lot of 2s, especially in the paint. But that was smart for her to throw that up to get a chance to shoot free throws. Cheatham picks up her first.
Loyd just loses the handle. I guess there's some contact on the ball handler there, but no foul.
And fortunate for Duke, right? That would have been the 4th on Liston. Shea Jackson and Amber Henson come back in. Johnson and Williams take a seat for Duke. Williams had 10 points in the first half, 4 so far in the second half. Liston bringing the ball up now with Johnson on the bench. And that's another Duke turnover as it goes into the backcourt. Turnover number 16 for the Blue Devils, who average just over 17 on the season. And as we mentioned earlier, with no true point guards, the assist-to-turnover ratio, everybody's in the negative column for Duke.
No point guards. There's Alexis Jones with the ACL. I call them the lead guards for Duke. They all initiate the offense, but handling under pressure is something that is not comfortable for them.
Turnover number 9 for Notre Dame. Nice spin by Liston, who finally gets her second basket. Scored way back in the first half.
15 times she's been over the 20-point mark this year. She's been their most consistent offensive player.
4 points. She averages just under 18 per game. Jewell Loyd will check in for Notre Dame at the next whistle. Mabry from NBA distance.
It's going up. She is going to shoot it. The thing I love about Mabry, she might tell you the next time down, I'm going to shoot it again. You can't guard me. You got to step way outside the arc.
She has a sister who's a really good player as well, Marina, who both Duke and Notre Dame are recruiting. Nice play by Peters. 14 for Haley. She had 10 in the first half.
She's actually going to watch her sister play tomorrow.
So are some of the Notre Dame coaches.
Yes,
how about that? Jersey kids. Chonma blocked by Cheatham. Oh, Jackson just flat out kind of fumbled the ball.
And then she fouls.
It's a double no-no for Rashay. 4 fouls on Rashay Jackson. Notre Dame looking for the ACC title. Up 9. Thank you, Kevin. Big win for SC over Stanford last night. Duke has a couple of players, key players in foul trouble. Let's go over to LaChana Robinson.
Guys, when you look at the offensive fouls for Tricia Liston and that last foul by Rashay Jackson, they were trying to score early in the shot clock. Joanne P. McCauley told us if we're going to slow the pace of this game down, we should only look to score in transition if we have the numbers, a clear path, or a wide open lane to the basket. And Tricia Liston has tried to force things in transition, and there Rashay Jackson did as well. They need to pass the ball around more.
That's one way to control the tempo. And of course with Notre Dame, if Duke can score, they can play the defense that they want. If Notre Dame gets on the defensive glass like they have in the second half, you haven't seen Duke getting to the offensive boards as easily. They're able to play in transition, which is their game.
Johnson closed out on Mabry, who hit a long 3 last time down the court.
Wow.
McBride
So
that
good.
in. 19 for her, excuse me, Deb.
Well, she's getting a little happy, and she was warned by the official, you know, so be careful.
We saw Diamond DeShields get a technical in the semifinal against Duke. That was a pivotal play late in the second half. Yeah, she hit a 3, a step back 3, and then barked in the face of Haley Peters, and a good job by the officiating crew for the taunting technical.
Oh boy,
goodness.
that's when you know you're confident and you're playing well. She takes on 3 Duke defenders in transition because she defensive rebounded, Pam.
She got taken out. She didn't like it. She came back in and hit a couple of shots. What a terrific player, huh?
So good. Some WNBA team is going to be awfully happy to have her.
Liston working inside. Nothing doing. Here they are in the break. Loyd's faster than Peters, but barrels in to a defender. And the call is going to be against Kalia Johnson for the block.
It's because it starts outside the lower defensive box and the restricted area comes into play. And she is clearly inside the restricted area.
17 fouls against Duke. Notre Dame in the bonus for the rest of the game. Talking about the foul trouble for Jackson and Liston. They have combined for 7 fouls. Notre Dame as a team only has 6 today.
And this is where it gets tough right here for Duke because they don't have the ability to full court press and turn Notre Dame over. So they have to get quarter court stops, Pam, and they have to score on possessions now. They can't have empty possessions to try to come back 14 against a very efficient Notre Dame team that's in rhythm.
Liston gets it over to Peters. Duke still has not hit a 3 this afternoon.
This is the second best the best three-point shooting team by percentage. Notre Dame's the second best.
And they are 0 for 4 from beyond the arc today.
A great job defensively of not allowing them to catch and shoot.
A nifty play. Johnson gets her 6th point, but they need stops. Inside 6 minutes to go. Chamwa could not handle it. Turnover gives the ball back to Duke.
Watch Kalia Johnson. Just throw it off the backside of Mabry, who's not watching the ball. Good play by Johnson.
Don't like that.
Put that in the memory bank.
Yeah. Pass back to myself. Boy, Elizabeth Williams just really wanted the ball, but instead they tried to get it into Liston. Mabry for 3. Left it short. Liston just totally sacrificing her body to try to keep it in bounds.
This is good hustle by senior right here. Look at Liston. Good extra effort.
Tough kid for sure out of River Forest, Illinois. We spoke with her father here on this trip, and she actually broke a lot of his records. They went and played at the same high school, and Tricia took Daddy's records away.
Youngest of 4 girls.
And we asked if he minded it. He said, no, who else but my child would I want to break my records?
He taught her how to shoot. She's an excellent shooter.
But this has not been her game, Deb. 2 for 10 from the floor, 0 for 1 from 3. She does have 6 rebounds. Johnson battles breaker. That's a held ball. Possession arrow keeps it with the Irish.
Patricia Liston has had to play different roles for Duke because of the injury status. Last year, Chelsea Gray goes down late February. She moves into the point. This year, again. But it just has evolved her skill set.
Everybody on the floor. Another held ball, which means it goes to Duke. Duke, the defending ACC Tournament champions, have won 3 of the last 4. Notre Dame, the Big East champions last year. And they have made a big splash in their first year in the ACC. They have not lost a game, period. 16-0 during the regular year in the ACC. And Allen called for the block.
Notre Dame come with a little run and jump. Allen just didn't beat her to the spot. It's a good call.
Lindsay Allen still has not taken a shot in this game.
She doesn't need to, Pam.
But don't you love that there's a player who doesn't feel like they need to?
Yes, I do. I love the offensive discipline. Do what you do best.
And she's got players that she would be the first to admit. And she can score. I mean, Allen averages over 6 points a game, but she's got these other hosses out there, and she gets in the ball. Notre Dame freshman assist record. Haley Peters right down the gut for the basket. Is there enough time for Duke to come back? They're down 10. We'll come right back to the ACC championship game. And for more on the need-to-know players like Brianna Stewart and Kayla McBride, log on to espnw.com/need-to-know.
Well, what's interesting about the stat sheet, when you look at it, they both have the same number of made field goals, but Notre Dame has 18 points from the three-point line. They've made 6 threes. Duke hasn't made any, and Duke is 0 for 3 at the free throw line.
Those are all Cheatham. Duke, by the way, has gone 83 straight games in which they have made a three-pointer. They are 0 for 3. Check that, 0 for 4 today. Trisha Liston gets half of her threes. On average, nothing doing today. She's been defended very well. Jewell Loyd is all over her now.
The offensive rotations for Notre Dame have been terrific. They gave up offensive rebounds in the first half. Elizabeth Williams had 5 in the first half. She has 1 in the second. And not getting to the free throw line, the gap defense and the help and recover by Notre Dame has not allowed Duke to get anything penetrating to the paint.
Williams had 10 points at the half, just 4 here in the second half. Breaker heads to the line after Williams picked up her 3rd foul. Breaker has not scored until now. So 2 of the starters for Notre Dame, in Breaker and Allen, have no field goals. And still they're beating Duke by double digits.
They gladly give up their shots to McBride and Loyd. They've made 18 shots combined.
And their bench is really good. And that's one thing that when we talked to the players today, Loyd and McBride, they gave extra props to the players coming off the bench. They thought they really started to click at that pivotal second half comeback against Tennessee. And they really do have a terrific, dependable bench.
They do, and that bench provides more than just scoring, Pam. I mean, even in Mabry's presence on the floor, it spaces the D, it changes the way you defend. When Reimer's on the floor, she gives him a counter to what Natalie Achonwa does. She's a terrific rebounder.
Elizabeth Williams, Duke now 0 for 4 from the free throw line. The journey to Nashville begins next Monday with the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship Selection Show. 7 Eastern on ESPN. Continues at 8 Eastern on ESPNU. Also live on Watch ESPN. ESPN, your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. And not that the Women's Basketball Committee doesn't have a tough time every year. This year's going to be ultra tough. You have 2 concrete #1s in Notre Dame and UConn, and then there's room for discussion with all the other ones. A lot of folks, and do you think that Tennessee secured a #1 with their SEC tournament win today?
I think they may have.
Loyd gets fouled, and it's not like it was convincing. It turned out to be a 1-point win over Kentucky. And that committee, they're going to be hunkered down, and there's going to be all sorts of discussion. Charlie Cream is our bracketologist, and this is how he has it so far.
What's new and interesting about this year is that you have home courts for the regionals. This will be a 1-year deal. So there is a measure of economics that plays into who gets in and where they get sent. You know, there's some conversation about Notre Dame. Toledo right now is a neutral site. It's near them. It's where they probably should be sent, but will they be sent there?
Because last year they thought they were going to Columbus and ended up playing at Iowa and had to play Iowa on their home court, which turned out pretty well for them as they got back to the Final Four for the 3rd straight year.
You're supposed to protect the 1 seeds, according to the principles.
Principles, yes. 24 points for Jewell Loyd. By the way, McBride has 21. Loyd with 16 points here in the second half. Came out on fire, hit a couple of early threes, and there's a foul against Notre Dame. Achonwa's expression tells it all. That is 3 on her, and Duke back shooting 1-1. Duke, by the way, averages 16.5 made free throws per game. They're 0 for 5 today. So that is a huge, you need every point against Notre Dame. There's their first make. And they just haven't gotten to the line much, and when they have, they haven't hit them.
Cheatham's the only one who's been to the line, and Elizabeth Williams, under the 4-minute mark, is going to make 2 trips to the free throw line.
Williams 2 for 2 during that trip, and here's some pressure now from Duke. Desperate times with 3 minutes left to go. Jewell Loyd, the great move with the left hand, and that's a huge collision between Williams and Allen. And Allen is shaken up.
All right, you got a 3-on-1 layup on the backside of pressure, and you don't convert. Elizabeth Williams playing tough in there, rebounding.
Allen picks up a foul. She is a little bitty thing compared to just about everybody, but especially Elizabeth Williams, and she appears to be okay. Lindsay, the true freshman out of Mitchellville, Maryland, played her high school ball in Washington, D.C.
So the clock stops, and Williams makes her 3rd trip to the line. Expect to see the same pressure. It's dangerous, though. That's what's so dangerous about being down double digits. That's why I was pointing to at the 6- and 7-minute mark that Duke needed to get it closer to striking distance, because pressing Notre Dame is very challenging because they can score on the backside.
Yes, they can. High risk. Williams 1 of 2 from the line on that trip. Notre Dame winners of 31 straight games, the best start in program history. A lucky bounce for Notre Dame that it ended up with Breaker, but the shot clock is winding down. Allen to McBride. Has it roll off. Williams with yet another rebound. 15 rebounds for Elizabeth Williams. She has been battling since the opening whistle. Breaker called for a silly foul.
That was a good sell.
Good acting job, perhaps, by Johnson. There was some contact, and she heads to the free throw line to shoot 1-and-1.
Hey, now Muffet-McGraw can't be pleased with this. They've done such a good job of not allowing Duke to get to the free throw line, and inside the 4-minute mark, this is going to be their 4th trip.
Duke misses the front end of the 1-and-1. They're 3 of 10 from the free throw line.
The foul will be charged to the Blue Devils at number 33, Haley. The foul will be charged to the Blue Devils at number 33, Haley Peters.
Haley Peters picks up the foul. 10 team fouls now. So Notre Dame in the double bonus for the rest of the game is Kayla McBride heads to the line. McBride was not the ACC Player of the Year this year. Alyssa Thomas was. Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues on ESPN tonight, following us at 9 Eastern. Pac-12 title game. It's Oregon State and USC. Also live on Watch ESPN. Who would you vote? You did have a vote, right, for Player of the Year? Who did you pick?
I voted for Kayla McBride. Notre Dame won. They went undefeated. Thought she was the best player, but I think there were some people that voted for Jewell Loyd, and I think it split some votes. And certainly, it's not hard to make an argument for Alyssa Thomas.
Jewell Loyd, she's going to be ACC Player of the Year probably before her career is over.
I think at least maybe 1 or 2 times. That's what she's got left, too.
Alyssa Thomas did have a brilliant career at Maryland.
She sure did. I mean, she had more triple doubles than anybody. She's got 6.
4 of them this year. Shouldering a lot of the load for the Terps, who lost, by the way, in the quarterfinals here to North Carolina. And then North Carolina lost to Duke in the semi yesterday. More free throws here for Duke. And there's Alexis Jones. Tore her ACL in the game at Notre Dame on the 23rd of February. And she had taken over the point position because Chelsea Gray broke her kneecap.
Boy, they left a lot of points at the line here in the last few minutes. It could have changed their defensive pressure and the complexion of the game a little bit.
3 of 12 from the free throw line.
Not good at all. This is one of the best shooting teams in the country.
They're not a great free throw shooting team. 8th in the ACC at 67%, and they have been really bad at the free throw line today.
See, Duke has to stay in that matchup zone. They can't go man.
Shot clock winding down to Chonwook.
Right at the rim.
Right there for her 8th point. And Notre Dame now is about a minute away from claiming the ACC Tournament championship. Johnson got to the rim and still couldn't get it down after they won the ACC regular season championship. McBride with the finish, and you are looking at a 32-0 team. They will have the top seed in the South Bend region. This game was tied up at the half at 28. Notre Dame came out with their big two, McBride and Loyd, hitting early in the second half, and that pretty much was all she wrote. So Notre Dame and Connecticut, the two big bad wolves, if you will, in this upcoming NCAA tournament.
On a collision course for the national championship. What a great job Muffet McGraw did with her team coming out of the locker room. This game was tied at 28, and then Jewell Loyd took over. They went on a 21-10 run, put it away. Duke just didn't have enough in the tank to be able to come back and press and put the pressure on Notre Dame defensively.
Duke will fall to 27-6 and wait for Selection Monday. Right now, Charlie Cream has them projected out as a 3 seed. He has them in the South Bend Regional, which means these teams would have to play for the 4th time. But Notre Dame crashing the ACC party in a big way this season, going unbeaten during the regular season to win that title, and they add the tournament title to their resume in their very first year in the ACC, taking it 69-53. Well, Notre Dame won the Big East last year with a perfect season in the league, doing it again this year in the ACC. And we will see them for what we anticipate to be a very deep run in the NCAA tournament. Duke did not hit a 3, 0 for 5 from range, first time in 84 games in which they did not hit a 3, and that's a big part of their offense.
I thought Notre Dame's game plan was terrific. They worked inside out. They ran them off the 3-point line. They limited Liston's touches. Elizabeth Williams had a big game in the first half, but in the second half, Notre Dame took that away.
So Notre Dame is the champion. You can watch the trophy ceremony coming up live on ESPN3 for the ACC Women's Tournament trophy presentation. Notre Dame trying to get back to the Final Four for the 4th straight year and get an elusive second title. They won it all in 2001. Can they do it this year? Let's go over to LaChina Robinson, who was over there with Kayla McBride.
Kayla, this was a tied game at the half. What was Coach's message to you in the locker room?
We had to go and play to win. I felt like we were playing like we were afraid to lose. You know, we're undefeated, everything like that, but we just had to go out there and we had to take it. They were out hustling us. They're being more aggressive, and we had to come out and execute our game.
A transition year for your program, moving to the ACC. Not only do you go undefeated in the regular season, you also win the conference tournament. What does that mean to Notre Dame?
It means a lot. It just shows the mental toughness of this program. We've come in and day out, and we were ready for every competition that we had, and I'm really proud of these girls.
Obviously, the bar has been set for your program with all of the Final Four appearances. What do you need to do here in the postseason to continue that legacy?
Well, you know, there's 7 games left in my mind. You know, as a senior, and we just have to take it game by game. We know we're going to get everybody's best shot, and we just have to take it down to the wire and just play really great basketball.
Thank you, Kayla.
And they've been playing great basketball. McBride and Loyd, the big two, combining for 51 of Notre Dame's 69 points. They are the ACC Tournament champions. Coming up next, Championship Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods continues with the title game of the Pac-12 Women's Tournament, USC and Oregon State. Live coverage of the trophy presentation coming up on ESPN3. For LaChina Robinson and Debbie Antonelli, I'm Pam Ward. You've been watching ESPN, your exclusive home for the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. As we say so long from Greensboro, Notre Dame, the champions. Let's head back to Kevin DeGan.